Eleanor Wright took a deep breath as she walked into the large round room. 17 alien beings sat in a circle, all looking at her. Their eyes, some big, some small, some not even like eyes at all, followed her every move. The room was very quiet. Eleanor was the first human to ever speak to the Galactic Council. What she said today would shake the future for all people on Earth. She tried not to show how nervous she felt. "Please be seated," said a tall alien with silver scales that sparkled in the light. This was High Counselor Zix Varon of the Lyrian people, the leader of the council. Eleanor sat down in the single chair in the middle of the circle. She felt very small. "Humans," began Zix Varon in a deep ancient voice. "Your kind has reached the stars very quickly. Most species take much longer to discover how to travel faster than light. We find this concerning." Eleanor cleared her throat. "The people of Earth thank you for this meeting. We want peace and friendship with all people of the galaxy." A different alien with many waving tentacles spoke next. This was Counselor Thaldorn from the Breast Collective. "We have watched your planet for many years. You humans fight each other all the time, yet you create new technology very fast. This is troubling." For the next 6 hours, the Council asked Eleanor hundreds of questions. Why did humans fight so many wars? How did humans discover space travel so quickly? What did humans want from the galaxy? Eleanor answered truthfully, even when she could see the aliens didn't like her answers. Humans value freedom very highly, she explained when asked about Earth's many different governments. "We believe people should choose their own path." This made several council members shift in their seats. The idea clearly made them uncomfortable. As the long meeting finally ended, High Counselor Zix Varon stood up. "The council has made its decision. Earth will be given probationary status. You may trade in certain areas of space, but not others. You must follow our rules exactly. If you do well, you may be allowed more freedom later." Eleanor knew this was not what Earth had hoped for. They wanted full membership in the Galactic Council, but it was better than being completely shut out. Some of the council members had wanted to forbid humans from space travel altogether. As she was led out of the chamber by 2 tall guards, Eleanor heard Counselor Thaldorn speaking quietly to another alien. "These humans will either destroy themselves or force us to destroy them. Either way, we will not have to worry about them for long." The alien guards showed Eleanor to her room. Once alone, she called Earth on her secure communicator. "How did it go?" asked President Harris, his face serious on the small screen. "They're afraid of us," Eleanor said. "They've given us limited trading rights and restricted where we can go in space. It's not what we wanted, but it's a start." "Did they explain why?" "They think we're dangerous, too aggressive, too quick to develop new technology. They're worried about what we might become." The president was quiet for a moment. Are they right to be afraid? Eleanor thought about the ancient species she had just met. They had been exploring space for thousands of years. They had built a system that kept the peace across thousands of planets. Yet today, she had seen real fear in their alien eyes. "Yes," she finally said. "I think they are right to be afraid, but not for the reasons they believe." What the Galactic Council didn't understand was that they had just done the one thing guaranteed to unite all humans. They had tried to hold humanity back. 3 years passed since humans first met the Galactic Council. Commander Alan Foster stood on the bridge of the Earth ship Ease Horizon. He watched as their vessel moved toward the huge space station that orbited a distant star called Proxima Centauri. This was Earth's second embassy ship. "Security check complete," said Lieutenant Olivia Clark as her fingers moved quickly across her control panel. "The council inspectors will come aboard in 20 minutes. Elan nodded. "Any news from Ambassador Wright?" "She says the council is divided. The Lyrians and Valdar want to keep limits on how far humans can travel in space. The Bresk and Nayari want even tighter controls. Only the Jorans support giving us full membership." Below deck, Dr. Pamela Harrison was making sure all forbidden technology was well hidden. The Council had banned certain types of research, advanced computer minds, powerful weapons, and some kinds of biological science the humans had been working on for years. But Earth had no plans to stop this research. Ambassador Wright's plan was simple: pretend to follow the rules while secretly continuing their work. Humans were building trade relationships with individual alien species, making friends, and spreading human culture throughout the galaxy. When the Council inspectors came aboard, they found nothing wrong, just a normal diplomatic ship following all the rules. They didn't notice the hidden databases with fake research records, or the ship's decorations that actually contained advanced scanning devices. Alan watched the chief inspector, a tall Valdar named Crintal, finish his inspection. "Your ship meets all requirements, Commander. But I must say I am concerned about how many security personnel you have for a diplomatic mission." Ellen smiled politely. "There have been pirate attacks in the outer regions recently. We must protect our diplomats." Later, alone with Ambassador Wright in her secure office, Alan shared his worries. "They're watching us too closely. The Bresk representative practically accused us of breaking their technology rules in yesterday's meeting." Eleanor sighed. "Of course they are. They're afraid, Alan. In just 3 years, we've made trade agreements with 14 species not on the Council. Our movies, music, and stories are popular across 3 sectors of space. We're learning their technology faster than they can stop us. What happens when they decide we're too dangerous to allow in the galaxy?" Eleanor's face grew serious. "That's why we're making friends. When the Council finally moves against us, they'll find half the galaxy already loves humanity." On the other side of the station, Councillor Thaldorn of the Bresk met with security officials from several Council races. "The humans continue to spread their influence," she said, her tentacles moving with agitation. "They say they follow our rules, but our deep scans show their ship contains technology far beyond what they report." "Can we prove it?" asked a Nayari security chief. "Not yet," admitted Thaldorn. "Their deception is clever, but I've seen reports from trading outposts. Humans are exchanging cultural artifacts that contain hidden data. They share entertainment that spreads dangerous ideas about individual freedom and questioning authority." The Valdar security officer, Crintal, joined the conversation. "I just inspected their latest diplomatic vessel. Everything appears correct, but there are too many security personnel. I believe they are military forces in disguise." "What do you recommend?" asked the Nayari. Thaldorn's skin darkened with resolve. "We must increase surveillance on all human activities, place restrictions on human cultural exports, and most importantly, we must prepare for the possibility that stronger measures will be needed." "You mean force?" Crintal seemed troubled. "I mean survival," Thaldorn replied. "Humans are unlike any species we have encountered. They don't know their place. They don't respect the natural order. If we don't control them now, they will spread across the galaxy like a virus, changing everything they touch." As the meeting ended, none of the aliens noticed the small cleaning drone in the corner of the room. Inside it, a human-made listening device recorded everything and transmitted it to the EA's horizon. The game of deception had begun, and the stakes were the future of humanity among the stars. 7 years had passed since humans first met the Galactic Council. Grand Counselor Zixfaron called for an emergency meeting. The old Lyrian's silver scales had dulled with age and worry. "The human situation can no longer be ignored," he said in his deep voice. "Reports from all sectors show they have moved beyond the colonies we permitted them." Councillor Eth Lamar of the Zoran Imperium tried to speak. "Their ability to adapt makes them excellent traders and cultural." "They are a plague," interrupted Councillor Thaldorn. The Bresk representative's skin had turned dark purple, showing she was very upset. "In 7 years, they have spread to 47 worlds. Their technology now matches species who have traveled space for hundreds of years. They ignore our traditions and rules at every turn." The Council showed evidence of humans advancing in scientific fields that were forbidden. Most worrying was how humans were changing alien technologies, creating mixed systems that often worked better than the originals. "They call it innovation," said Krental of the Valdar Authority with disgust. "We call it destruction of established technological order." Even more disturbing was how human culture was spreading throughout the galaxy. Their music, art, stories, food, and ideas were being adopted by dozens of species. Young aliens were learning human languages and copying human behaviors. Some were even changing their appearance to look more human-like. "They make promises of individual growth," said Counselor Nixforel of the Nayari consciousness. "They tempt with ideas of personal freedom and self-determination that undermine proper social structures. 3 Nayari hive clusters have already experienced dangerous individualization problems." After many hours of debate, the Council voted 14-3 to label humans as a Level 1 containment threat, the highest classification for a non-violent species. This allowed immediate restrictions on human movement, trade bans, and technology quarantine measures. In her private room on the Council station, Ambassador Eleanor Wright received the news calmly, though inside she felt anything but calm. "How much time do we have before they start enforcing these new rules?" she asked her assistant. 48 hours, replied Daniel Rodriguez, her chief of staff. "But our friends in the Joran delegation say the Bresk are already preparing their enforcement ships." Eleanor nodded. "Activate Plan Omega and get me a secure channel to Earth. They need to know. The Council has just declared Cold War on humanity." Back in the Council chamber, after most members had left, Eth Lamar of the Jorans approached Zix Veron. "You have made a grave mistake today," the Joran said quietly. "The Council has made its decision," replied Zix Veron. "The humans pose too great a risk to galactic stability." "You don't understand what you've done," Eth Lamar insisted. "I have studied humans more closely than any of you. They are not like us. When threatened, they don't retreat. They unite. When restricted, they don't comply. They find ways around the rules. You haven't contained the human problem. You've guaranteed it will become worse. What would you have us do? Allow them to spread their chaotic influence unchecked?" Zix Veron asked. "It's too late to stop it," said Eth Lamar. "Their ideas are already spreading. Their concept of individual rights, their drive to improve and adapt. These things appeal to many among our own people. By declaring humans a threat, you've only ensured that those who secretly admire them will now actively support them." Zix Veron's ancient eyes narrowed. "Are you saying there are traitors among the Council races?" "I'm saying change is coming to the galaxy, whether the Council approves or not," Eth Lamar replied. "The humans have already won. You just don't know it yet." As the Joran walked away, Zix Veron felt a cold dread settle over him. For the first time in his 500-year life, he feared for the future of the Galactic Council. Samantha Reeves pulled her hood lower as she walked through the crowded streets of Jophilis, the big capital city of the Joran homeworld. Even though the Council had banned humans from traveling freely, thousands of humans now lived in secret on alien worlds, running businesses that officially did not exist. Sam was heading to the Nexus, a bar that looked ordinary, but was actually the center of the largest human smuggling network in this part of space. They didn't just smuggle humans, though they did that too. They smuggled human goods, technology, and ideas to eager alien customers. "Password," growled the large rocky-skinned Krell who guarded the door. "Earth's gravity feels like home," Sam replied with the weekly password. Inside, the bar was busy with activity. A dozen different alien species mixed freely, trading illegal human technology and enjoying banned human entertainment. In one corner, a group of young Nayari were watching forbidden human movies. At the bar, a Valdar merchant was trying to buy human-modified shield generators from a smuggler from Mars. Sam walked to the back room where Vincent Ortega, the leader of the operation, was meeting with their newest recruit, a Bresk named Lithdera, who had turned against her own species' anti-human views. The Bresk Authority is planning an attack on the human settlement on Proxima IV, Lithera was saying, her tentacles twitching nervously. They have found your hidden research facility. Vincent, a former soldier with hidden machine parts in his body, nodded grimly. When? 3 days. They're using a new detection system that can find human genetic signatures through standard shielding. Sam spoke up. The Council's getting desperate. These raids are happening everywhere. It's not just the Council anymore, said Lithera. Several member species are taking action on their own. The Bresk Collective has officially labeled human culture as a thought disease and authorized deadly force against cultural contamination. Vincent pulled up a holographic display showing the network of human settlements, official and unofficial, throughout Council space. Nearly a third were flashing red, indicating recent raids or coming threats. We need to warn Proxima IV, Sam said, and start Protocol Diaspora. Protocol Diaspora was the emergency plan developed by Ambassador Wright before she was called back to Earth, a complete spreading out of human presence in the galaxy. No large settlements, no central authority, just thousands of individuals and small groups mixed into alien societies, continuing to spread human influence through personal connections. It won't be enough, said Lithera, surprising them. The Council has approved the development of anti-human biological weapons and cultural deprogramming technologies. They're treating this as a threat to their existence. Vincent's face hardened. Then it's time for Phase 2. Sam, get a message to Admiral Chen. Tell her Spartacus is awakening. As Sam left to send the coded message, Vincent turned to Lithera. You understand that by helping us, you're committing treason against the Council. The Bresk's skin shifted to a determined blue. The Council betrayed its own principles when it decided to persecute an entire species for the crime of being different. I'm not the only one who sees this. There are others, thousands across every species, who stand with humanity. Vincent smiled grimly. That's exactly what they're afraid of. Later that night, Sam met with a group of alien youths in a hidden room beneath the city. There were Jorans, Valdar, even a young Lyrian, all species that were supposed to hate humans. Why do you help us? She asked the Lyrian, whose name was Taznor. Your people lead the Council against humanity. Because you showed us something we never knew we were missing, Taznor replied. Freedom to question. Freedom to change. Freedom to be more than what we were born to be. The young Valdar nodded eagerly. Human music, human stories. They speak of possibilities, of changing your fate. In Valdar society, your place is fixed at birth. But humans believe anyone can become more. Sam looked around at these alien faces, all watching her with hope. This, she realized, was humanity's true weapon against the Council. Not technology or military might, but ideas. Ideas that, once heard, could never be unheard. The Council thinks they're fighting a war against humans, she said, but they're really fighting a war against the future. Admiral Nicol Chen stood on the bridge of the HMS Defiance, Earth's newest warship disguised as a cargo ship. Hidden in the asteroid belt of an unmarked star system outside Council space, the Defiance was just one of 50 such vessels that made up humanity's secret defense fleet. Fleet status, she asked her second-in-command. Commander Ryan Sullivan answered quickly. All ships report ready, Admiral. Stealth systems working perfectly. The Council's patrol fleet passed through the nearby system without seeing us. Nicole nodded, studying the display screen. For 10 years, humanity had played by the Council's rules. Officially, unofficially, they had prepared for this moment. The start of Operation Spartacus. Open secure channel to all fleet captains, she ordered. When all connections were established, she spoke to the commanders whose faces appeared on the bridge's main screen. The Council has crossed the final line. The development of biological weapons targeted specifically at humans is a direct threat to our survival. The United Earth government has authorized Operation Spartacus. She paused, letting everyone understand how important this moment was. This is not a war of conquest. Our mission is to secure freedom for all beings in this galaxy, human and alien alike, from a council that has abandoned its principles of peace and cooperation in favor of fear and control. Operation Spartacus was simple but clever. Over the past decade, humans and their alien allies had mapped every council monitoring station, defense platform, and communication relay. Human agents had gotten jobs in key positions throughout council space. Human design technology, officially banned but widely sold through black markets, had been built into countless alien systems. Phase 1 begins now, Admiral Chen announced. All ships, carry out your assigned missions. Good luck to us all. Across the galaxy, the carefully placed back doors in council systems activated at the same time. Defense platforms went offline. Communication networks broadcast evidence of the Council's anti-human crimes and planned genocide. Transport systems sent Council enforcement fleets to empty space. On 17 key worlds, human allied resistance movements took control of planetary governments. On the Council's central world, secret files showing corruption and species superiority policies were made public, starting massive protests. Aboard the Defiance, Admiral Chen watched as reports came in. Status of the Council fleet. Scattered and confused, replied Commander Sullivan. Their command and control systems are compromised. Most ships cannot receive new orders. And our allies. The Joran fleet has officially denounced the Council and is moving to secure their sector. The Krell Dominion and Tellarite Federation have declared neutrality, which effectively removes them from the Council's side. Nicole allowed herself a small smile. The plan was working even better than expected. Humanity had spent a decade making friends, building alliances, and spreading influence, all while appearing to follow Council restrictions. Now they were calling in all those favors at once. Set course for Proxima Centauri, she ordered. The Council's main enforcement fleet is gathered there for their planned attack on our colonies. It's time they learned that humans don't stand alone. As the Defiance and its battle group jumped to faster than light speed, Admiral Chen sent one final message to Earth. Spartacus has awakened. The chains are broken. In his private chambers on the Council homeworld, High Counselor Zix Veron received the first reports of the human offensive with shock. How is this possible? He asked his chief of security. They are just one species. How could they coordinate such an attack across the entire galaxy? It appears they have help, the security chief said reluctantly. Many allies from within our own species. Zix Veron's ancient scales paled. You mean traitors? No, Counselor. I mean people who believe the humans offer a better future than the Council does. Young people mostly, but some older ones too. People who have heard human music, read human stories, eaten human food. Cultural contamination, Zix Veron muttered. Or cultural exchange, replied the security chief. Perhaps the Council was wrong to fear humans. Perhaps we should have welcomed them instead. As alarms began to sound throughout the Council complex, Zix Veron realized with terrible clarity what the humans had done. They hadn't just built a fleet or planned a military strike. They had spent 10 years winning hearts and minds across the galaxy, and now the Council would pay the price for its fear. High Counselor Zix Veron's scales had lost their shine, turning a dull gray as he faced the emergency Council session. Only 9 of the 17 Council members were physically present. The others attended via holographic links, those whose links still worked, that is. This is unprecedented, the ancient Lyrian said, his voice showing his tiredness. In 2 weeks, human allied forces have taken control of 1/3 of Council space. Our enforcement fleets are in disarray, our communication systems compromised. We should never have underestimated them, said Lamar of the Jorans, whose species had openly allied with humanity. We treated them as primitives when they were simply different. Now we pay the price for our arrogance. Traitor, hissed Thaldorn of the Bresk. Your people helped the humans plan this attack. We chose to ally with the future, Lamar replied calmly. The Joran Imperium formally withdraws from the Galactic Council, effective immediately. The chamber erupted into chaos as 3 more species, the Krell, the Tellarites, and surprisingly, the Valdar, also announced their withdrawal from the Council. "This is mutiny," Thaldorn shouted, her tentacles thrashing wildly. "The humans have infected your minds with their dangerous ideas. Ideas are only dangerous to those who fear change," said the Valdar representative, Krintal, who had once been among humanity's strongest critics. "My people have voted. We no longer recognize the Council's authority." As the meeting dissolved into angry arguments, Zixveran retreated to his private office. There he found Eleanor Wright waiting for him. "How did you get in here?" he asked, too tired to be truly surprised. "The same way humans have gotten everywhere in your perfect galactic society," she replied. "Through the cracks you didn't know existed. Have you come to gloat? To see the Council crumble?" Eleanor shook her head. "I've come to offer terms." "Terms?" Zixveran almost laughed. "You think you can dictate terms to the Galactic Council? The Galactic Council no longer exists, Zixveran. Look around you. Half your members have already withdrawn. Your enforcement fleets are disabled or have joined our side. Your communication networks are under our control." The old Lyrian sank into his chair. "What do you want? Total surrender?" "No," Eleanor said, surprising him. "We want a new beginning. A new council, built on different principles. Not control, but cooperation. Not conformity, but diversity. Not stagnation, but growth." "Impossible," Zixveran said. "Such a system would lead to chaos." "Only if you believe that different means dangerous," Eleanor replied. "That's been the Council's mistake from the beginning. You saw humanity's differences as a threat rather than as a strength." She handed him a datapad. "These are our proposed terms for a new galactic alliance. All species equal. No restrictions on cultural exchange or technological development. Mutual defense against true threats, and complete amnesty for all who fought on either side." Zixveran looked at the document in disbelief. "After all this, you offer peace. We were preparing to destroy your entire species." "That's the difference between us, Zixveran. You saw an enemy to be destroyed. We see potential allies who made a mistake." On the main council world outside, massive crowds had gathered, not just humans and their alien allies, but ordinary citizens of all council species. Young Lyrians, Bresk, Nayari, and others were calling for reform, for freedom, for a new way forward. "The old order is ending," Eleanor said, gesturing to the window. "The question is, will you help build something better in its place?" For the first time in centuries, Zixveran felt uncertainty. The smooth, predictable galaxy he had always known was changing forever. And yet, looking at the human before him and the crowds outside, he also felt something he hadn't expected: hope. "Perhaps," he said slowly, "it is time for someone new to lead the galaxy forward." Eleanor smiled. "That's the most human thing I've ever heard you say." 6 months after Operation Spartacus began, the galaxy looked very different. The old Galactic Council building on Lyria Prime had been transformed. The circular chamber remained, but now it housed the new Galactic Alliance. Representatives from over 50 species sat as equals, with no raised platforms or special seats for the founding races. Eleanor Wright stood at the center of the chamber, finishing her speech to the assembled delegates. "The foundation of this alliance is simple. All sentient beings have the right to determine their own future. All cultures have something valuable to contribute. And together, we are stronger than we could ever be apart." The chamber erupted in applause. Even some of the former council species who had initially opposed the changes were now cautiously optimistic about this new galactic order. After the session ended, Eleanor met with Admiral Chen in a small garden outside the chamber. "Quite a change from when you first addressed the old council," Nichols said, looking around at the mixed groups of aliens and humans chatting freely. "Almost hard to believe it's the same place," Eleanor agreed. Did you get the latest reports from the outer systems? Nicole nodded. The last Bresk holdouts have requested peace talks. With Thaldorn removed from power, their new leadership seems more open to cooperation. The Bresk had been the most resistant to the new order, with a faction led by Thaldorn attempting to form a counter-alliance. But without the resources of the former council, their efforts had gradually collapsed. And the containment zone facilities? Eleanor asked more quietly. All dismantled, Nicole confirmed. The biological weapons have been destroyed, and the scientists responsible are helping develop protections against similar threats in the future. They were interrupted by the arrival of Zixveron, who now served as an advisor to the Alliance rather than a leader. The old Lyrian looked healthier than he had in months, his scales regaining some of their former luster. Ambassador Wright, Admiral Chen, he greeted them. I hope I'm not interrupting. Not at all, Eleanor said. We were just discussing the progress being made. Indeed, progress happens quickly when we work together. The Lyrian seemed thoughtful. I must admit, I doubted your proposal would work. So many different species, all with equal say. No central authority to maintain order. And yet here we are, Nicole said, gesturing to the peaceful gathering around them. Yes, here we are. Zixveron paused. I have lived for 5 centuries, and I believe I understood how the galaxy must be governed. I was wrong. Perhaps that is the greatest lesson humans have taught us, that even the oldest among us can still learn. Across the garden, a group of young aliens had gathered around Vincent Ortega, who was now the head of cultural exchange for the Alliance. The former smuggler was demonstrating an earth dance, to the delight and confusion of his audience. They still fear us, some of them, Eleanor observed. Fear doesn't disappear overnight. No, agreed Zixveron. But fear can be replaced by understanding, given time and effort. Already, mixed communities are forming on dozens of worlds. My own grandchild is studying Earth history at your new university on Proxima IV. Admiral Chen smiled. Cultural contamination. Cultural enrichment. The old Lyrian corrected her. Though I admit, I find some of your human music rather intense for my taste. They all laughed, a human and 2 aliens sharing a moment of genuine connection. As the day ended, Eleanor stood alone on a balcony overlooking the capital city. Lights from a dozen different species' architectural styles glowed in the evening darkness. Ships from across the galaxy moved peacefully through the skies above. The path ahead would not be easy. Old prejudices died hard, and not everyone welcomed change. But for the first time in millennia, the galaxy was truly alive, growing and evolving, rather than simply maintaining a careful status quo. The Council had united the galaxy against the one species they couldn't control. But in doing so, they had unintentionally created something far better than their old order could ever have been. 5 years had passed since the formation of the Galactic Alliance. On a small, beautiful world in what had once been restricted space, representatives from across the galaxy gathered to celebrate the opening of the first interspecies university. Eleanor Wright, now serving as the human representative to the Alliance Leadership Council, stood on the stage with leaders from 20 other species. The campus spread out before them, its buildings reflecting architectural styles from dozens of worlds. Today marks another step forward in our shared journey, she said to the assembled crowd. This university will be a place where all species can learn from each other, where ideas can flow freely, and where the next generation will grow up knowing each other as friends, not as aliens. Among the students waiting to enter were humans, Lyrians, Bresk, Valdar, Nyari, Jorans, and many others, some from species that had once been bitter enemies. After the ceremony, Eleanor walked through the campus with a special guest, Tasnor, the young Lyrian who had once been part of the underground resistance against the Council. It's hard to believe how much has changed, Tasnor said, looking around at the mixed groups of students. When I first heard human music, I had to hide my recordings. Now I'm teaching Earth literature to students from across the galaxy. And what do they think of our stories? Eleanor asked with a smile. They love them, especially the ones about overcoming impossible odds. Tasnor's scales shimmered with amusement, though the brisk students find human humor very confusing. They passed a technology lab where students from 8 different species were working together on a new type of engine, combining principles from various cultures into something entirely new. This is what the old council feared most, Eleanor observed. Different species, different ideas, all mixing together in unpredictable ways. They feared chaos, Tasnor agreed. But they didn't understand that from creative chaos comes new order. That evening, a special Alliance Council session was held on the university grounds. The main order of business was to officially welcome 3 new species to the Alliance, races from a neighboring galaxy who had heard of the Alliance and sought membership. Admiral Chen, now retired from military service and serving as Earth's security advisor, sat next to Eleanor during the session. Our first extragalactic members, she whispered. Who would have thought? The word is spreading, Eleanor replied. Freedom, cooperation, innovation. These ideas are universal. After the new members were officially welcomed, an elderly figure made his way slowly to the center of the chamber. It was Zix Veron, now serving his final year as a senior advisor before retirement. 5 years ago, he began, his voice thin but still commanding. I believed humans were a threat to the galaxy. I believed their differences, their unpredictability, their constant drive for change would destroy the order we had maintained for millennia. The chamber was silent, everyone listening intently. I was wrong, the old Lyrian continued. What I failed to understand was that the static perfection the council sought was itself a kind of death. Life, real life, requires growth, change, even a little chaos. He gestured to the representatives around him, dozens of species now working together as equals. The council united the galaxy against the one species they couldn't control. But in trying to contain humanity, they only proved why such control was wrong. Today, we are all stronger because we have learned to cooperate rather than control. As the session ended, Eleanor stood with Nicole Chen and watched the sun setting over the new university. Not bad for a species that was supposed to be a level 1 containment threat, Nicole said with a grin. Eleanor laughed. We came to the stars hoping to find friends. Instead, we found a system of control and fear. And in breaking that system, we made the friends we were looking for all along. Across the campus, lights were coming on as night fell. Human music mixed with alien songs. New ideas were being born. And the galaxy, once frozen in an artificial perfection, was finally, truly alive.